Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome to the Gameweek 19 pod of the FPL Wire. I'm your host, Zoph, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Late Riser and Pras. Not a lot of FPL presents for us this Boxing Day, guys, but a lot of cards. Hi, Pras.
Lot of red cards, lot of enjoyable red cards. Man, this is the first Man United player I've owned this season. And even last season, I only owned Bruno for that double game week at the end. And I didn't own any. But, it was a nice experience as a Cunha owner, not as a Man United fan or a Bruno owner. But Cunha keeps doing well. You guys, what do you have to say about Cunha?
Oh man, I just find it quite hilarious now. I love this GIF that Baker put up on Exo with the whole and this whole AI image thing is getting quite fun now. It's hilarious, man. As a non-owner now, it's just comical, and it's not just the nature of the ban. The fact that the ban is hanging over. First off, this whole ban thing is like 10x what we had with the whole Diego Costa, Nicholas Jackson 4 yellow cards, right? Because not just one game. You were expecting him to miss. And see the nature of the goals, the corner goal. The other one he shot straight at Hermansen. I mean, he's taken 6 points of direct relegation rivals. Isn't that a concern, LR?
Calling us relegation rivals. Don't answer that, LR.
It is a concern, man. It is a concern. But what can you do, man? It's basically like the player that actually he's way better than Jesse Lingard, so it would be doing him disservice. But the thing is, he's absolutely world class. He's a monster. He's destined for a top 4 team in the league. But a lot of his returns aren't because of his class. They're also because of just a fair amount of luck. But it is what it is, man. When you're hot, you're hot.
It's luck. It's okay. We can say it. It's fine. Like you get these hot streaks, and the best thing about the hot streak is nobody can buy it. It's like it's exclusive to the owners only, basically. Although he's like the most bought striker this week. I don't know what people are smoking to be buying him this week, but we take it.
I think he's going to be available for this weekend anyway, and this Spurs. So even for 1 week now, you could potentially buy him, right? The returns are coming.
I mean, we'll talk about it. We've gone from a landscape where everybody was saying, oh, sell Haaland, guys, because there's so many strikers. You can buy anyone. Now, it's true that they're all doing better than Haaland anyway. But still, there are no strikers anymore in the game, apart from Isak. And obviously Cunha, who has an expiry date.
But when is that expiry
And the chap
date?
on our thumbnail.
And the guy on the thumbnail, we have to talk about that, Ella. Got a lot of flack in the comments for that Gordon call.
Man. It's all right. Because I think in general, what I've noticed with the comments, whether it's you, me, or Pras, if we recommend somebody that's not doing points, we get flack for it. It's almost like we're terrible for not calling people out that are either recommended on review or haven't gotten points. That's all.
Yep. And then if we call out afterwards, you guys will say, oh, you guys are just chasing points. So it's lose-lose.
So we just don't win, man. We just don't win.
But I have to say, they are a very small minority. Most of us love our calls, and that's why they're here. So thank you for joining. There's about 400 people in the chat enjoying their holidays, but also listening to FPL. We had to pod this before the Arsenal game.
Let's timestamp it, Plus.
So this is before the Arsenal game in which Arsenal have kept a clean sheet and Odegaard has got a red card. So it's before that game and the one where João Pedro scores a hat trick. But we had to do it because we want to be disciplined and we want to pod every single game week this season. So we are here.
Yep. Let's do
shout out to Pras. Zoph and I were a little bit tired, reeling from the Christmas schedule that has been, and we're like, should we just do team selections and should we just do the pod? And Pras is like, you know what, there's no reason to pod, there's decision making, etc. as well. So kudos to Pras, man, for keeping us disciplined. I like that there are 3 of us, and as long as one of us is pushing that, no, show up, finish it, do the pod, I think it's good. Just a note on Cunha, actually, I was seeing that AI image. I tweeted about Cunha in terms of how he's defining XG and all, and somebody replied to that saying he's basically the Haaland inverse, and I was like, that's just the perfect explanation for Mr. Cunha there.
It's crazy, but he's such a talented footballer, man. Just watching him without the goal, he had you guys on toast. Every touch, every dribble, just so supremely confident. Brilliant player.
Man, a lot of people are in the United chat that we have were saying that he's auditioning for United. I feel like he will go to a Champions League club. Like, genuinely, that's the feeling.
That's what we said 3-4 pods ago, right? Like, he's like your Barcelona, Real Madrid, like that sort of level now.
Yeah, even Arsenal. Yesterday, fresh reports came out that Arsenal linked with him. I thought he's tailor-made for City because they need an attacker in that mold as well. But even Arsenal, yeah.
But they're pretty much accepting relegation if they sell him, man. He runs that team. Absolutely runs that show. And when you watch him, the thing is, if you watch him, he's so deep in midfield, you're wondering, how is this guy getting so many FPL points? You expect him to be doing the assister, but just shits points non-stop.
He's the only forward in the league that definitely gets 7 points for a goal. 100%.
Yep. Spot. Even for an assist, it's like a 6-point assist most of the time.
Yep.
More points than even Isak, man, or even Haaland. Like number one striker. It's generational luck. Like how do you sell Haaland and then come out with the player that is the highest scoring player in the game? It's generational luck, which is we'll take it as Cunha owners.
Yep. Cool. Sponsor plugs and jump right in.
Yeah.
LR, take it away.
As always, all the tables, data that you see on the podcast are from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. In fact, Lego Mane, whose charts we use regularly as well, is affiliated with Fantasy Football Scout as well. Now is when deep player strategy, we're 2 weeks away from thinking deeply about what we're going to be doing with our chips. And I think the members area will help you with that as well. So, get on there and become a member. And if you are become a member, click on the link in the description below. And while we're not doing a nod plug this episode, I just think it's a good time to mention any TV shows because I think it's sort of become tradition and I think we should do this at the top of the show anyway.
I've been enjoying Black Doves. I just finished that today. Decent show.
Is good. Like, is it like a must watch? I'm like very skeptical of starting a show because Squid Games came on Netflix yesterday and now the lineup for a month is sorted, right? Squid Games, Traitors, Severance, and White Lotus. Like, we're good for a month. So I am skeptical of starting a show at the moment because the plate's full with what's coming.
Black Doves is really good, but Squid Games, tell me, do you need to watch season 1 to watch season 2? I haven't seen season 1.
You should.
Watch season
1. And season 2, LR, I've watched the first 2 episodes. The masala actually starts from episode 3. Like,
nice.
So just so you know, like it's slow first 2 episodes, but I then had to check after finishing that is it going to be like this? But no, it's actually the fun is coming.
All right, lovely. Zoph, definitely watch season 1. It's a great show. I think you'll enjoy it as well.
Cool, definitely will do. Right. Let's jump right
Actually, before we go to the results, I also wanted to, because we don't have a nod plug, I wanted to thank everybody because we got 235k subs, which was the target by Christmas. So very much appreciate all you guys. I mean, it was fantastic to get there. We didn't think we'd get there. Like, genuinely, it was a stretch target. So thank you so much for the love, and it's really nice to see that we got those numbers. The view figures are up. So really appreciate your support.
It actually happened on Christmas Day, which was quite nice as like that to happen on that day. So we appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Fantastic, guys. Let's jump in right now. We have a quick turnaround with the games now on Sunday. So let's just go game by game, see what we could take from that and what we could implement into next week. Starting with Man City Everton. What a game. I think Everton could have won this right at the end, man. I think most teams which are not Everton, they nick it at the end in that 4v2.
It was 5-2, was it?
I think at least.
4v2.
I think Everton couldn't believe it. Like, they were like, this must be wrong. Like, somebody must be offside here.
Something was interesting notice about Foden. I was very close to buying Foden. Now I had made one transfer for Sarr. I was like, I had this transfer up Semenyo to Foden. I just didn't have the conviction to click confirm. So I was watching Foden very keenly this game. Very different role from what he had against Villa. Very creative. I think he had 7 chances created, 2 big chances created, and this time only 2 shots. So I think Pep did tweak something in that sense. He told him to be a lot less selfish because this was something you were mentioning, Ella, during the Villa game. He was playing for himself rather than looking for Haaland. It was a little bit different this time around, right? I'm sure you were watching very closely as a Haaland owner. What was your takeaway?
Yeah, he was a little less selfish. This was a little better in terms of chance creation, etc. for Erling Haaland. Not just Foden, even Savio, even Doku. In terms of team chemistry in attack, it looked a lot better, at least, than how it has been in the last 4 or 5 weeks. So hopefully an upward trajectory, man. And hopefully Mr. Haaland doesn't miss his next penalty. It was fun actually because my brother is down, Red Swapnil. And actually he's one of 2 people in his main mini league that own Haaland as well. And I literally came home from work and he's like, "Oh, Haaland got a penalty." Like literally, he was walking in, and then that 5 minutes of him waiting, certain pick for doing. I'm like, I'm not ready for this. I'm just not ready for this. And there you had it. It just happened. I was like, at least take the goal, and then immediately the offside thing happened. But yeah, interesting though, because we were wary of Foden as a pick because of a certain De Bruyne. Now, Pep's comments were like that he could have subbed De Bruyne on earlier. So I'm wondering if he starts De Bruyne against Leicester in place of Foden, or he throws them both together. What do you think happens there?
I think he plays them together. Pras?
Yeah, I mean that's what we'll have to go by, right? Foden actually had a good game. I
Yes,
thought. Like
exactly.
as a non, I was like, dude, I should have probably thought about him a lot more. Like again, with all due respect to Haaland did nothing apart from the penalty, 0.08 xGI apart from the pen.
Mhm.
Foden was the player.
Two big chances fell to him, plus, where he ran past the keeper and wasn't able to control the ball on 2 occasions, which
Right.
could have been. So
Fair enough. Maybe the numbers don't do justice. But anyway, I felt Foden was the more threatening player. Like if they were both like highly owned, I would be more afraid of a Foden return. I just felt like it was coming in some route, right? And if he got 1 return, he would be in 3 bonus because he still got a bonus, even though
Yellow card.
he didn't get any return. So Foden was really good. Guardiola had those chances.
insane.
In fact, hit the bar from a Foden assist. And then also that disallowed goal was also a Guardiola header back to Haaland, right? So he's insane. But if you don't keep clean sheets, you're not picked, man.
Yeah, the moment they become tactically better and like have, let's say, if they buy a decent enough DM in the January transfer I think we need to we genuinely need to have a closer look at Guardiola, because he's probably the best attacker. He's got the knack of, he's almost like Terry in terms of finding the right space at the right time, in terms of attacking set pieces, etc. as well. So I'm interested there in the second half of the season.
0.73 xGI, Guardiola, incredible.
Rico Lewis though, Pras, what a troll.
I mean, what can you say? Like you go with clean sheet odds and you say, look, this has Everton don't score against anyone except Man City, of course. You know, they have consistently, if you play your defenders against Everton, you come out with a clean sheet. That's been the rule, except obviously Everton. And then he also had that shot. I mean, of course, it was like just at the edge of the box, but he had that shot. So he always lures you in that if he's starting, then he might. But for me, it's okay. Like this week will be the last, or last week was the last. I'll be saying my thank you, and I'll be picking the Crystal Palace striker instead.
Not playing him for Leicester?
I don't feel it, man. They have the same clean sheet odds, him and Munoz, and Munoz is better long term. So I'm just going to do it because I have the luxury of free transfers.
Yep. I mean, even Leicester Root's not going to set up. Everyone's going to set up tactically now to attack Man City. No one's going to sit back. Even Leicester are going to approach the game very differently than they did perhaps against Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean he's a fine hold, but I don't think like he's not a long-term pick unless they figure things out. So yeah, if it's a move you can get it done because there is another defender that has huge upside this week.
Let's talk captaincy
Question.
now. Let's go ahead, Anna.
Question for you guys. I might downgrade a certain Raya this week. Now, if you're in the market for a keeper, do you buy the extra fixture with Pickford, even though the fixtures aren't looking that great for the next few, or you go somebody like Henderson, Sells, or Sanchez?
Let's have a look at the fixtures. It's City is over now. Then it's Forest, Bournemouth, Villa, Tottenham, Brighton. The tough fixture, but the toughest one is arguably behind them. So I guess you're pretty much, if you buy Pickford, you're buying him for the long run. And the only alternative I think I could suggest is Sells, because they're just good, man, defensively. Forest, if you're keeping your Tottenham out and restricting Tottenham to about 1 xG, you're a legit defense. So if you want to go
What about
cheap,
Sanchez though? Because
you saw what happened yesterday, right? The
Second goal was him. Like he passed the ball and went straight to
I
the.
had to say we were in a title race. Completely ruined everything.
Yeah, but like after Ipswich and Palace, right? Like there's some really juicy home games: Bournemouth, Wolves, West Ham, Southampton, and Leicester. Like genuinely good clean sheet games. Like you should keep cleans in those games. So I'm thinking about him as well. And Henderson is cheap as they come. 4.4, again a great run, great starting point. So.
Again, if you're willing to do the double up with Munoz, I don't mind it, but I think we're all going to be owning Munoz very soon. That's why I don't fancy the double up. You remember LR at the start of the season, it wasn't very pleasant. So I think
I've been dealing in doubles and triples all season, man. That's the experimental.
I would go
MO form.
Henderson. I would go Henderson.
Henderson
Because you're not going to
Henderson.
pick 2 Palace attackers, will you? Like you're not. I don't think anybody is committing that much. I would go
I'm
double,
picking
man.
two
I'm actually
Palace
thinking
attackers
about
anyway.
it. I am thinking about it as well. Mateta, I'm thinking of adding it because, again, like you said, where are all the other forwards? We'll talk about that once we get to Palace.
But I was talking more about pun. If I pick Munoz, it's picking an attacker anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the market for a keeper myself as a Flecken and Fabianski owner, but again, I don't really see a great entry point this week. Maybe with Forest, you could expect they could keep the clean, or maybe Everton could keep the clean. Either way.
I think if I'm going keeper, I think I'm going either Pickford, Sanchez, or Henderson. Those
Don't
are
go
the three I'm
Sanchez.
looking at right
Don't
now.
go Sanchez. Any of the other ones are fine, I think.
Then take Pickford for the double, or Henderson. That would be my
Yeah.
view.
Yep.
But my also suggestion would be don't get rid of Raya, unless
It's
you
to
desperately
fund-
need to.
To fund money, that's all. If I need to fund an attacker, if a certain Martinelli shows up tonight, because that's the feeling move. If I go Sar, I don't need it. If I go Martinelli, I need it. So simply as like that.
Cool. Anything else to cover in this game? All right, I was asking about captaincy. Ella, now, where are you leaning now? As a Haaland owner, the next week captaincy is going to be quite split, I think, between Salah and Palmer. Are you leaning towards going with Haaland now?
Yep, he's my captain this week.
I mean, you have to, right? And let's just hypothetically now, if he does blank this week, would that be the final straw? Or would you still hold him for Brentford Ipswich after?
He's my captain in West Ham as well.
Interesting. What do you think
That
about
makes
Pras? You would
sense.
do that as
No,
well?
I agree. I would agree, 100%. I mean,
I would.
look, taking on Salah is difficult at the moment, but Man City have higher expected goals. Leicester is the fixture at the moment. It's away, but still, it is the fixture at the moment. There are no minutes issues, right? Like when a team is losing or not doing well, the managers try to overthink. I don't think there's any minutes issues with Haaland, or there shouldn't be. De Bruyne should start this game as well. Why would you not do it?
Fair shot. I'd agree with it. Talk about the next game, Bournemouth Palace.
And also, it's the one other thing, right? In terms of, like you brought it up earlier, where are the other strikers?
Where are the
Like-
other strikers?
Like I've got Isak, who's the most important striker to have. However poor Haaland has been, Cunha after Spurs has got a tough run of fixtures. Like the striker to buy would probably be Cunha. After that, he's got a tough run of fixtures. So it's just Jackson, Watkins, or nobody, sort of, So I'm okay just playing Haaland for the next 4.
I mean,
Unless
let's
Jesus puts his hand up.
Jesus and,
Unless Jesus would.
and
yeah.
Mateta. Also, we have to talk about, and again, let's talk about Southampton a little bit. Shall we move on? Bournemouth Palace, City, Everton.
Yeah,
Sure.
because let's have a Palace chat. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I watched this game a little bit. I had Semenyo and Sarr in this game. Semenyo is just so frustrating, man. He just gets good shots, good chances. And ironically, the one chance he had on goal was cleared off the line by the other player I own, Sarr. It's just so annoying when that happens.
Well,
And
my player for Wolves got my other player from Man United sent off, so I know the feeling.
Yep. So, but yeah, this is a game, very few chances for Palace. You obviously expect Bournemouth not to give up too much, but there were 0 big chances for either team. And I think Bournemouth suffered a little bit without Evan Nielsen in there. The entire team cohesion suffered a little bit. But Palace, as we've seen, have tightened up a lot more defensively. They didn't, again, offer any big chances. Sarr was constantly the outball, though. What has happened recently with Palace, I'm noticing that Mateta isn't goal hanging. He isn't as central and not as the last man. It's always Sarr who's the last man on the ball. And you had mentioned this, LR, also a few pods ago. He's always in the box. He's drifting very central. Munoz is the one holding the width. So if you ask me out of the attackers, I think I'm still very happy with the Sarr pick. I still think if I was picking today, he's the one I'd go for. And now, Pras, you're in the market for a potential replacement. Is he high on your list?
Yes, I think Sarr is showing us, like, look, he's another cheap midfielder. So with managed expectations, we say that he's got good fixtures. He's got minutes, which is very good. Like, he's been playing 90 minutes consistently. It's been Eze who's been coming off. Even Mateta comes off. It's not him that comes off. So he's ticking a few boxes. Whether that lasts forever, I don't know. Like, if he has 3 bad games, will he last forever? I don't know. But I think he's worth going there. If you have the luxury to move around your 5 millions, we know how moving around 5 million works, right? It has history of backfiring quite badly. So with all of that context, I think the one negative about Sarr is the fact that when there's easier games, will they play the same way? Will it be Mateta who hangs more because they have the ball more? Sarr doesn't have the space to run. His pace is the number one thing that gives him the edge. So will it become a little bit of an Eze Mateta show when it's an easier game and they have higher possession? That's my one concern. But as a pick, I think right now, the one that you can have most conviction because it's also lowest in terms of budget that you're putting into this team, which you're not 100% on, I think Sar is very good.
Yeah, I was sort of doing like a shout out to Ronald, FPL Pig, who was actually asking us to do a comparison for Eze and Sar. And like the pros and cons in my head is Eze is the most skillful player. He's definitely the better player. He's got set pieces and he's got amazing set pieces. Like a free kick from outside the box for Eze is almost as good as a free kick for Trent in terms of scalability. And he's got 40% penalty share, should we call it? I think that's a fair assumption. 40-50%. It's basically like
we assume it's
another
Mateta
Bruno
now.
Rash. You assume it's Mateta?
I think it's Mateta.
So it's not guaranteed pens. So so on the lower side you'd say 30% penalty share. Just to
and
like
he's lost set
add
pieces also, right? Quite a few
to
of them.
Hughes.
I think he's
Corners
lost.
he's lost to Hughes.
So that's the thing. But he's got better skill set. I think he's got a better shot on him as well. And for the first time this game against Bournemouth, I thought we saw signs of Eze of old. Like he looked pretty much like he was undercooking previously. But here he looked better. He looked sharp. Didn't get taken off early as well, which was quite nice as a sign as well. So I think you will get slightly more for Eze. The only thing is he seems like he's taken up creative responsibility in this team. Because when it was Eze and Olise, both of them used to share the creative responsibility because Olise is a pretty creative player. Sar is not that creative. Sar is last runner sort of person. And plus about that game against slightly deeper blocks also, they're using Sar's heading ability. I've still noticed that whenever there's a cross and Mitchell's got a good cross on him, they're placing Sar in the center because he's got height for heading ability as well. So that's another thing. So, all things considered, I think I'd save the money for Sar. Especially if you guys think that Mateta has got penalties, because I think that's a big thing. Then I'd save the money and use it somewhere else and get Sar.
Yep.
So there is FPL Wilson, who's a season ticket holder, goes to Palace games on Twitter. So I asked him last night, is Sar a safe pick? So I'll just for 10 seconds. So he basically said Nketiah on the right hand side has not worked. He will take Mateta minutes, not Sar's. He was ill yesterday, so he didn't play. Kamada takes Eze's minutes while he gets up to speed, but hopefully doesn't feature much because he's rubbish. Even when we're winning close games, Sar may play up top when they take Mateta off, and Sar could play down the middle just for his pace and his threat on the counter. So he's playing well. There's no denying that. The only issue for me is he's really suited to the teams playing high lines, which is the point we made. And the last thing he said is he does think that they will spend in January for an attacker. So that is a little bit of a wild card on what that attacker could be, which position. And so that's a little bit of a question mark. So go in knowing that it is good upside, but it could be also nothing that is very, very long term.
The fixtures are obviously the appeal. We have the ticker now up from 19 to 24. The right at the top, Southampton, Chelsea, Leicester, West Ham, Brentford and Manchester United. The toughest game over here is Chelsea, and Chelsea will give you chances, as we saw yesterday. On the transition especially, Sar is going to constantly be the outball. And even the Leicester and West Ham games are away. And generally, Palace tend to play more on the counter-attack when they're away. So the only game you'd say where you'd expect them to have possession, like you mentioned earlier, Pras, I'd say 19 and 23, Southampton and Brentford. So I don't think that's as much of a concern. And we'll talk about Southampton. I think let's just introduce that in there, this discussion. I thought Southampton were a lot better yesterday against West Ham. They're not as targetable. They didn't leave those wide open spaces. I think West Ham had only a couple of big chances, couple of shots on target. Southampton's attack was also still decent. They had 5 shots on target themselves. So how heavily should we invest into Palace now? Do you think we should go in with a Munoz and a Sar, or should we just possibly get one and look to watch them a little bit to next week? LR?
It's the same thing I told Pras last week. In terms of Crystal Palace, the 4 picks amongst outfielders are clear. Like it's Munoz, Mateta, Sar and Eze. And how much ever you watch Palace, that isn't going to change too much, in my opinion. I think you just pick, it's a good entry point, and stick with it for a while because the fixtures are there for a while. So it's not about changing your opinion about Palace players, it's about changing your opinion for maybe a Martinelli or Gordon or another pick that sort of emerges in the market. But Palace picks, these are going to be your 4, and then you just pick your person.
Munoz had a good chance yesterday, right in the center of the box from an Eze.
So Glasner just had his press conference. You know what he said? This is like such confirmation bias, right? Somebody asked him about Tyreek Mitchell and how he's developing as a left back. And he's like, look, this is what we have to accept. Mitchell will never be Daniel Munoz because he's different. Danny has this natural skill, his attacking way, his running, and always being there. Mitchell cannot be that. So what else do you want to hear?
Munoz boner.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. There you go.
We don't need an
It's pretty
excuse.
nailed on as a transfer for me this
Yep.
week.
Nailed on transfer for a lot of us.
Yeah, even with the whole Robinson thing, Pras, I remember I shat on the rotation a bit on the last pod, but then I sent you a DM about the rotation is actually decent. You get a lot of Leicester, Southampton, Ipswich, etc. And now Robinson also is, we have to keep in mind, there's only one game though. He is on 4 yellow cards. So if he gets a yellow card against Bournemouth, he would be suspended for the Ipswich game. So a bit of insurance there as well. Anything else?
Anything on Bournemouth? As a Semenyo owner, are you selling Semenyo or keeping him? What's the plan?
It's interesting now. I'm thinking of moving Semenyo down as an 8th attacker, either him or JSL. But the problem is I'm struggling to find striker replacements. There are other people I can potentially look to buy in for Semenyo, but I think Martinelli, Jesus, Jackson, etc., that all ties into who I replace him with. Semenyo still isn't bad. He's still getting decent chances. It's frustrating he's not getting the returns, but I still think if I had to pick him or JSL, it would easily be Semenyo every day of the week.
They're a good team, man. Good attack.
Precisely. So maybe just move him to an 8th. It's not somebody I want to play every week now because the fixtures are getting a bit tougher for Bournemouth now. A little bit as well. They're right now, I think, 4th bottom. It's Fulham away, Everton, Chelsea away, Newcastle away, Forest and Liverpool. They've done well against the big sides though. Bournemouth, it generally suits them. The deep block are the ones that usually struggle. But again, not someone I want to play every week now going forward.
Yep. Chelsea.
Move on
so
to
the
Chelsea.
the contenders for Champions League / Europa League, what did you make of them?
Yeah, that's probably pretty much where we are now. So we struggled a little bit, and I think Marco Silva set up very astutely for this game. I think this is the first time this season they set up in a back 5. And what they did, they pushed Robinson and Castagne up really high, which completely limited our wingers. Our wingers didn't get any sort of like freedom to go forward, and they were constantly being put back by the fullbacks, which meant the creativity all had to come from the middle. So Palmer was good in the first half. On the second half, you saw a bit of a slump, and I thought taking Jackson off was a bit suicidal because once Nkunku came on, the game plan completely failed. There was no hold up, there was no link up from the centre forward, and since from there, you can't say Fulham didn't deserve it. Chelsea were poor yesterday. Fulham stifled us in all areas of the park, and I think the maturity of the team is showing a little bit. On the plus side, what we can take it from FPL, I think Chelsea won't rotate now against Ipswich. You're all worried about your Nkunkus, Enzos, etc. potentially missing that game. Full strength against Ipswich. Have to now.
What's up with Madueke, man? Neto was slightly underwhelming, and I'm sure Madueke would have done better in that position.
They asked him after the game. He said it was a tactical decision, but apparently he's been getting some tough love from Enzo all season about his performances in training, about how he's now applying themselves. So this is pretty much, again, similar to like your Rashford situation. Tough love. He might even be back the next game.
Just want to shout out to Enzo though. Like, it was such a pleasure watching him do his thing. Like, I was impressed. It's one of the better midfield performances I've seen this season. He's got everything, man. You know, in terms of pressing, in terms of tackling, in terms of shot taking ability, in terms of passing set pieces. He's really coming into his own. And I was a little worried, like you mentioned. But once Kukurea came, and now Lavia should be fit pretty soon as well. He was pretty attacking, crashing the box. He's one of those people whose touch maps that you get on SofaScore won't do justice to his actual FPL potential, because the moment the balls are wide, his job is to come in the center of the box. And actually Jackson is pacier, so he pulls away a defender or two, which leaves some space for him and Palmer for the cut-in. And Palmer sometimes is the creative guy, so perfectly fine as a pick. Be patient with Enzo.
Pras, I want your thoughts on Jackson. I think there's been somewhat of a dip from what I can tell in body language, confidence, even shot volume. There was something different we saw from Jackson another 3-4 weeks ago, and I see a bit of a slump. Is that just me, or do you see it as well?
I mean, he missed a couple of huge chances last game, right? Not this one, the one before. And so I just think you put one of those away and then it's a different story. It's a little bit of he's riding the Chelsea wave, right? I mean, you've drawn to Everton and lost this game. So it is basically, I mean, if you score 1 goal in 2 games, then your striker will suffer. I don't think it's a concern. I still think he's a very good option. I don't think he will lose his place because all the hints that we're getting is Nkunku doesn't work as a 9. So you're getting a nailed guy for a good team, good attacking team. I think he's still a fine pick and but he's just getting to a level where people are saying, is he worth that money? Is he worth 8.3, 8.4 million when, you have Mateta's 1 million less or Solanke even 1 million less. You have Chris Wood 2 million less. So he's starting to basically ask those questions. But if you have him, absolutely fine, I think.
But is cash even a consideration, plus because we are pretty much in the water everywhere, not a drop to drink phase, right? Unless you have Bruno, sucking up the money, unless you have Haaland, people will almost struggle to spend the money now. Because if you're not buying a Foden, you're not buying a Bruno, money isn't
then
really
he can
an
be
issue.
a buy. Then if money is not an issue, I still think he's a better pick than a Solanke or a Mateta. Especially if you think he's going to start against Ipswich, then even more reason to say, yeah, okay, you're taking a little bit of game. It's the 19th game, so there's one last yellow card risk, but I think that's minimal. Like, he's been managing it for a very long time, so I don't think he's a bad pick at all. If anything, I would say if money is not an object, then he'd be after Isak. This view has not changed fundamentally. That he's still a very good pick.
Yeah, I wanted your guys' confirmation because he might be my transfer in this week. Are you still of that opinion, Ella? Second best striker option?
I'm intrigued by Watkins because of the entry point, and the fixtures. But I have it's good that Aston Villa is next because do we think Villa appeal? Is there any news?
They will. No, he said they're definitely going to appeal. Emery mentioned that.
Because they should, right? I mean, if that red card is rescinded, then I wouldn't be into Watkins. But if that red card is kept, then Watkins, because of the next 3 especially, intriguing prospect as a differential.
He'll miss only 2 because one of them he'll serve in the FA Cup.
But what are 2 they are, right? Brighton and Leicester at home. So
but tell me, is it worth investing in when you know that Everton, Arsenal is right after that? Those are a little bit tougher games, and West Ham, Wolves are good, but that's when your Champions League again starts. Is it worth going there?
Jackson.
That's what I'm thinking, guys, because I was very tempted. I messaged you guys I might look at Watkins, but it just seems like a headache long term. Again, I'll have to start monitoring minutes once the Champions League starts, etc., etc.
But it's a little weird, that he's like. What do you guys make of the Watkins situation? Because
it's a bit weird.
Like, my perception of him is top 5 player in the league, in terms of just generally big dog, done the goals and assists. He was the only one for 2 years once Emery came in, keeping pace with Salah and Haaland. And now this. So I feel like you can't keep class down for too long also. And especially if the red card isn't rescinded, right? Like, somebody who goes there who's got a robust squad, let's say, who doesn't need many transfers, who's somebody who's got Trent and Salah in place for the upcoming double, with the Mikalenko in place too, and has transfers to spare, has like 3 or 4 free transfers built up, I would go for a Watkins in that because he's big dog, man, and he's been dropped for the 3 games. Imagine what his motivation will be like against the teams like Brighton and Leicester. Like, I see goals.
Yeah. I tick all the boxes which you mentioned except the 3 or 4 transfers. I've got 2 transfers and just some stats up for you guys. Now, this is for the last 6 matches, all positions. Just look at the forward stats over here, right? You see Salah, Palmer, Isak. Isak is a forward in third. After that, there are about like 10 or 12 midfielders and then it's Watkins. So Watkins doesn't even make the top 10 for XGI, but Isak is the only forward that does, and which goes back to the point we were making. Where are the good forwards to pick? Even Jackson, you see, his numbers have dropped below now. He's below Gordon. He's below Utara. He's below Gakpo.
Yeah, this is my point. Get a penalty-taking cheaper striker. Get Chris Wood. Like, that's what I mean in terms of easy worth that. Like, all I'm saying is at the moment, going back to last week was only, we bought it on Monday. The whole opinion that you need to be very, very stingy with your transfers, no matter how many you have in this period, it still holds for me. Like, get a player that you, even if he blanks 3 times, or in my case, even if he gets a red card, you're happy to hold them. That should be the bar to get in players at the moment for me.
Jackson fits that though. I think Jackson, once you get over that, even if you you can take 1 game suspension on the chin. We all have your 8 attackers we can play. I think Jackson qualifies in that. With Chris Wood, again, we'll talk to him once we get to that game. He didn't have a single shot.
But before that,
go ahead.
Just general footballing opinion. Do you think Watkins wins back his position? I just think it's fascinating.
Why do you think he lost it? Let's ask that first. Why do you think he lost his position?
I think there's something going on behind the scenes. Like, it is obviously pure speculation. But I feel this whole dynamics of Duran being a guy who keeps coming on, scoring, wanting to start, and then at some point Emery saying, okay, you can start. Watkins is not happy, right? They're obviously having conversations behind the scenes. Something is not right. This is why I would not touch him. Like,
I
he
think
could
it's
do
fitness.
well.
And both of them have got like the alpha personality where I'm the guy, I'm right here. You can't have both of them in the same team. One thing I did notice is Rodgers actually has better chemistry with Duran. Like when they play together, they're really good for each other, and like they seem like best friends and are seeming to pass the ball to each other. So I don't know. This is fascinating because Watkins is big, man. So in fact, in a United chat, to people were like, we should sneak in a bid for Watkins because
I said it.
Yeah.
I think so. There's an opportunity. Maybe there's some unrest and you can get him. Obviously, now United chat is a sacred place where we say these things. Now people will laugh. United can't afford Watkins. They're probably right.
No, but never mind United, right? Like any club can take
they should sneak
advantage of unrest, and like Arsenal, man. Like Watkins is perfect for them. Like should.
Dude, you guys are absolutely spot on with the fact there is something up. Back-to-back games. I know Durant scored in the previous game, but still to start back-to-back games and keep Watkins bench, there has to be something up. And it could be something in the dressing room, or it could be fitness also. We know Watkins has had struggled with a knock. He's been carrying that kind of since game week 1. But again, probably does start the next 2. Good short-term punt, I think.
Yeah.
Before we close out, Chelsea, do you expect Fulham to play a similar formation against Bournemouth? Because we saw the fullbacks were very, very attacking. I don't think so. I think they'll go to a normal back 4.
No, I think also because I think Sander Berger was unavailable this game. Also, so it was also sort of like a horses for courses setup because of the amount of midfielders he'd available. I'm not sure if Kearney was available as well. So I think he had problems with the amount of midfielders available, which is why he sort of adjusted to this formation too.
Captaincy, Palmer versus Salah. Palmer has now Ipswich, Salah has West Ham. West Ham have tightened up a little bit, and apparently someone was posting in the Discord that Salah doesn't have the best record against West Ham. I don't know how much that shit really matters, but the fixture obviously on paper is better for Palmer this week, right? I know LR, you're on Haaland. Pras, which way are you leaning?
Initial instinct was Palmer. Then basically, once your result happened, not the Liverpool one, when your result happened, I was like, man, I'm backing a Chelsea team that has lost to Fulham, that has drawn to Everton, that is not playing at home, that could have some rotation. I know you think you're not, but could have some rotation, like Maresca has been known to do it, versus a team that is on fire, like absolute fire, huge momentum. They were even able to afford some minutes to, like, a Diaz didn't get any minutes, and Szoboszlai was planned to get a rest, but obviously he is now suspended. But I just feel that team is on something else. And so then I switched. I was like, I have no reason here not to captain Salah once again. And that's why I'm on Salah.
That's pretty much
I mean, I am.
Go ahead.
I'm contemplating captaining Salah. Like I'm like that 15-20% there. I'm not at all tempted to captain Palmer. Like there's 20-25% of me that wants to captain Salah because there's no Fabianski also, likely. And I think Kilman's unavailable for this game as well, who's been pretty important in that West Ham defense. And like Pras said, they're just on a different level. Salah's that goal is just filthy ridiculous. However good Palmer's goal was, what Salah did nonchalantly was insane. Like he's like you'd feel so comfortable captaining a Salah, and double return wouldn't surprise anybody.
He hit the crossbar. He had another couple of chances. He decided to miss all the ones that Trent created for him. That's a separate story. But in other games you're like, oh, Salah shooted just one goal out of nothing. In this game, okay, he was peripheral at some points. That is classic Salah. But he had huge moments. Like we called it, he will get 3 big chances. He probably got 3 chances to score in this game, and he's in that form that he will put one away.
Salah's not shitted points out of nothing. Like just again, it's interesting. I'm reading out his XGI. In the last 5 games, 1.02, 2.06 against Spurs, 0.6 against Fulham, 0.92 against Newcastle, 1.78 against City, Southampton 2.02, Aston Villa 1.06. I'm not reading out XGIs for teams here. I'm reading out XGIs for like players. It's ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. I'd go him.
Yep. The chat has corrected us also on the Salah's goal record against West Ham is quite good. The only possible case you could make it as, I guess, if Salah blanks the EO thing also, like I remember seeing Salah's EO yesterday was like at 190, 195. That potentially is because of a few triple captains in play, I think. But I guess if you are chasing, you own Salah, you could go. I think Palmer's again going to be around 80, 90.
Yeah, I mean, it's what the analytics guys call free risk. It's basically like you're getting somebody with a similar expected points but lower owned. If you want to do that, do that.
I just don't think it's the week to do it. I just think there's better harmony and much better team in terms of Liverpool right now.
Like we have to look for reasons not to captain Salah, and there just isn't this week. Cool. Move on. Newcastle Villa.
Yeah, you agree with that, Zoph, as a Chelsea fan?
Yes, I think
you're clear in terms of Salah.
Salah is just on another level from Palmer. I hope Palmer will get to Salah's level in a few years, but Salah is just genuinely, I think, in the top 3 best players of the world right now. Newcastle Villa. An interesting game now with the early goal. I think you can't really read much into what Villa could have offered, but Newcastle now they've scored, I think, 3+ goals for the first time in 3 consecutive games. I heard that on Match of the Day. The attack is absolutely purring, and Tonali in midfield has made a big difference. Now they're up against a Manchester United that's obviously going to be without Bruno, and how much ever we shit on Bruno, ultimately he does offer a lot in terms of control, build up and structure.
And Ugarte.
Ugarte as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'd expect Newcastle to do well now. Is it a good time to buy Gordon Pras?
I mean, it was a good time last week as well. But last week, basically, people wanted to get a more stable pick for longer term. Gordon is still a good pick. I think we said it last week. So if you wanted to pick one, I think, look, a lot of people are doing not just is Gordon a right pick or is Sarr a good pick. It has to be in combinations, right? So like for me, for example, I'm trying to look at what to do with Cunha eventually and what to do with one of my cheap mids because money is available. So one option is I can do Gordon for Enzo and I can do Mateta for Cunha. So basically that combination is Gordon plus Mateta better than another combination in which I can go Sarr plus Jackson. So you have to basically weigh up these combos and think which is more robust. I think Gordon and Mateta feels more robust than Jackson and Sarr, not because of Jackson, more because of Sarr. Like I don't know if Sarr will still be a good pick in 8 weeks if I need him to be. So Gordon feels like a good robust pick. I mean, he's on corners. We said it. And decent attacking. We're repeating from last spot, but Gordon playing on the left is always better for him.
The XG numbers have shot up. I remember seeing Newcastle in the bottom half of this. Now they're obviously playing Ipswich and Leicester does help and playing against a 10-man Villa, but they're right now 3rd for XG non-penalty over the last 6 matches. So the attack is absolutely on fire, and I think it is worth buying into it. Definitely. An additional option, because pretty much Isak is going to be get to the point where there's Salah and Palmer. Unless you don't captain him, the points really aren't going to get you anything. So you need a second piece of the attack. We're already there, right? Close to it.
Everyone has Isak now. Like even if somebody doesn't, like I know Andy, let's talk FPL. Like there's some very few people who don't. They will get this week. So Isak is done. If you want Newcastle attack, but then the question is, let's look at their fixtures a little bit deeper. Like I want you guys to tell me, is it something that you have to jump on now? Can you delay it? Like I know Man United are missing players, but is it going to be a 3-0, 4-0? Now that I've said it, of course,
could be.
But then Spurs away. Okay, there should be goals there. Wolves at home, Bournemouth at home, Southampton away. It's good, man.
It's good.
Pictures are good. But again, I would say now you could let's just look at it with the devil's advocate, right? We've preached that. Let's look at it that way. Manchester United again could be 2. They're not as good away. I think we can all agree that ultimately home is where Newcastle are the best. Wolves, despite playing Manchester United, I thought they were much better defensively. In terms of structure, I don't think they're going to be as ropey as we have seen. So they probably will give up, let's say, a 1.5 XG, but they don't look like a 3+ XGC team anymore.
And the Wolves game is Gameweek 21. You think by that time it will be a Wolves without Cunha?
Yep, that's a good point as well. I think we should keep that in mind. Bournemouth again, good defense. Southampton have improved, and Fulham, as we've seen, good defense. So maybe there's some sort of mitigation, but I still think he's a good pick, man. Not a must-have pick.
Pictures.
But good pick.
Good pictures.
Is he a good Bruno replacement? If you didn't see, you got Bruno. Let's just talk about the Bruno. I think a lot of people bought Bruno last week. Let's just dial back and address that topic first. Now, Pras, you mentioned you're looking to bench Bruno obviously for this week, and then you have Liverpool. Will you be planning to play him in the Liverpool game?
Yeah.
You play him there.
That was always the plan.
The fixture after that are all right is Southampton and Brighton, right? Let me just look over here. Southampton,
they're
Brighton,
good after that.
Fulham, Palace.
They are good until Game Week 29, and they are decent until 29. So I don't intend to do anything with Bruno. But if other people's teams are not sort of well stacked in their midfield, they don't have a good fifth midfielder or something, they can take him out if they like. But it's not something that I would advise to do. If you have him, then I would bench him. Like I had Rodgers on the bench home to Brighton. I'll play Rodgers.
But my question just in general to both of you guys is Manchester United a functional enough team to commit an 8.5 million spend when you can potentially look at that, put that money in so many other places? Now, LR, you're usually the optimistic guy over here. Now, you mentioned yesterday as soon as you saw the lineup, you don't like Bruno on the left side at 10. It might be something that happens again. Maybe he goes deeper. That's pretty much the reason. Is the fact that we've just invested in him, we don't want to use a transfer out? Or do you just accept that this team is just not worth spending another 8.5 million, take it out?
So, like, it needs to be for something, right? Like, if you're using the Bruno money down to a Sar, for example, and buying yourself a Jackson, then it's worth it. In isolation, I think it's like that. There was a reason why I wasn't that bullish on Bruno, because of our performances. It's just that we haven't created too much. That said, last week, everything that we created was around Ahmad and Bruno. This performance against Wolves wasn't as bad, and now it was just 45 minutes, right? Like 45 minutes of the game was with 10 men. So how much of that do you take into consideration also? So unless you're making any drastic changes, stick with what you have. Most of people have 8 attackers, see it out.
I don't know, man. I think you can take out that money and use it for upgrades. Like that, like exactly mentioned, the Sar Jackson one is a really good example.
And watch Arsenal closely tonight, because I still think the 4 games after this are there for goals for Arsenal. So, if they're purring again, then move to an Arsenal mid, if at all.
I mean, watch Arsenal. You'd say even 4 or 5 of like Brentford, Brighton, Tottenham. Villa are also, like you said, they've shown a bit of X-crumble this season, and that's again around Champions League. Wolves and Man City might be better by then. The goals are there. And like you said, we are podding before. Our team selection videos will probably have a stronger opinion on the Arsenal thing. But absolutely, you might want to invest in Arsenal in that spot.
Yeah. How about, like, Pras, if you had money after seeing the Foden performance, let's say if you had not a strong 8th attacker, would you be tempted now to go Foden? Because people could go there. I think there's a punt which has got upside with minutes, etc. Like, if we are thinking he's on an upward trajectory, what do you guys think of that?
Good too. I think Foden was a good pick, but I mean, I guess I have already made my point. Like, we can't be spending transfers, taking players in and out who are good long-term holds. This is not the time. Like, there are other problems in people's teams. Chasing hauls, using transfers for good picks. Like, people saw what happened with Boomo. It's just not my style of play. Like, I would never recommend that. But if people want to do that, that's how they play. So they can do it.
Because again, I think we discussed it last part, Foden could arguably also be a long-term play. We're counting on him to rediscover some form, etc. But in general, as somebody who was keen on Foden, I'm a bit less keen now because City just look broken. I just feel it's like buying into something that's totally dysfunctional. Now, as soon as another team scores a goal, the heads just drop. There's no conviction. There's no confidence in that team. And I thought Savio was horrible for Foden yesterday. Savio just kept drifting into all those central spaces. He was very selfish in that sense. I don't want Savio playing again as a Foden owner. And you just don't know what's going to happen with the dynamics. I think you just stay away now from City.
I don't know, man. I think fixtures breed form. And I think Everton categorically is a different fixture to Leicester, West Ham, Brentford, Ipswich. In terms of Everton are defensively resolute. They're fine. But I think that isn't the same for the next 4 games.
Right, but I think the other teams' attack is better than Everton. I think the other teams actually could win the games against Man City now. But obviously, it seems a lot to just put 9.1.
I don't want to sit on the fence here. I think there are goals for City in the next 4 games.
Probably are, but I would look to move to more known quantities now. I think with that money, and I'm just very big on Palace. If you move that money to a Palace midfielder, upgrade your forward line.
All basically the macro point I want to make is right now, FPL is a little bit in flux. Think of it like pre-season, like it's game week 1 or game week 2. Like we have had a very big hitter get injured. There are no clear options. There are lots of decent options. We are still discovering what are decent options. Some are emerging. Let's say a Gordon is emerging. Let's say Foden could be emerging. Crystal Palace could be emerging. But there is no full conviction on any one of them. I think it's okay to be a little bit passive for a couple of weeks. Like FPL isn't about a free hit every week. So it's okay to basically say that I'm going to wait and watch until I have a better understanding of where the meta is emerging. Is it going to be in the strike force without committing my funds into one position or the other? It's fine to play like that.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but where the meta is emerging for the mass, like if you look at it from a different lens, there is opportunity here where there is no clear pick, and let's say person A as an FPL manager spots an opportunity. Okay, you know what? I'm seeing this with what other people are not seeing. And I'm saying that because there's a good entry point for Arsenal, there's a good entry point for City. And these are not rubbish teams. They're generally good teams. So if somebody has enough conviction in picks, and objectively speaking, they're not safe picks. But, I feel like there's too much being made of always wanting to go safe with the picks. I had a conversation with a friend Ronald in terms of, this, especially in a situation where there is no strong standout pick. Like, ships are safe at the harbor, but that's not what they're meant for, right? You can take a chance. You
I like
can
that line.
take a chance. Like, you can roll the dice because two good teams have a good entry point. If there's courage and conviction for any pick that you're identifying, go for it, man. I just feel like you can.
Depends who you're talking about. Like,
Yeah,
if you're talking about, okay, Arsenal, I'm on board. If you're talking about Liverpool, and I had the same answer in the previous spot, I completely disagreed with picking any of the Liverpool midfielders or strikers. I don't think that was good play. And I'm usually on the fence. That was bad play. So picking an Arsenal midfielder because there is a new opportunity, because Saka no longer exists, that is an educated guess that this could become a player for the long term. Picking a Liverpool player is basically saying, oh, they have Leicester, I will make 20 points off my rivals, and then I'll give myself a transfer headache in 3 weeks. I don't think that makes any sense.
So I'll tell you where, I defended the Liverpool pick because I think Diaz was a good play. I genuinely think Diaz was a good play because, like I said, I'm repeating what I said on the last pod, where whatever happens, Diaz, in my head, I think Liverpool will revert to their first choice. And in my head, their first choice is Diaz, Jota, Salah. You're going to get 2.5 to 3 out of 4 starts when it comes to Diaz. And if somebody's convinced that that pick is more convincing than anything else out there, I think it's perfectly fine with the semi-bluff that he could get more games, and with the semi-bluff that you're getting a third pick for a double, which is coming in 24, likely coming in 24 or 25. So that's the pros in my head for a team that now is clearly the best attack in the league.
Fair enough. I don't know how you can say Diaz is the first choice. He loves Gakpo. Gakpo is doing really well. And Jota is coming back from an injury. So we've added more people to the problem. In Arsenal's case, we've removed a nailed player from the problem. Here, we're adding a nailed player and then picking a player.
Like somebody I was talking to said that actually Gakpo's played a lot of minutes on the left. That's because Jota was injured. And Diaz played central in some of the games where he played Diaz and Gakpo and benched Darwin. So again, it's an educated guess for somebody who's got conviction. Somebody can look deeper into Liverpool and want to go there, and that's fine in my opinion. That's all. And I genuinely think that, people got, there were some comments about people who got Diaz, made a wrong move or it's bad process. And they also got undone by personal stuff happening in Diaz's life as well. I don't think it would have been 0 minutes if that didn't happen as well, but we'll never know.
You just won't know.
True.
But in general, I don't think we have a clear concern. Because let's just talk about Bruno. I think let's close that, because whether he's a keep or a sell. Plus, in your view, I think he's a keep because you think he's a good long-term asset.
It depends on the team. If you can wait this week, I mean, you didn't buy him for Newcastle at home. If you have a good bench, if it solves a benching headache, you don't need to solve it. By the way, when people did Saka to Bruno, they've actually got money left. I can still get Gordon. Anyone is buying for instead of downgrading Bruno, I can get Martinelli, I can get Gordon. So I am not seeing what the benefit is to sell a guy who probably is a good long-term hold. That's my position in my team. If in other teams they don't have the same structure, the same setup, the same team value, they may say Bruno is out, and that's absolutely fine as well. He's not essential in any shape or form.
Where I stand as a neutral observer is I just don't think he's in a functional enough team right now to warrant that kind of spend. So you just go ahead and sell him. That's where I stand. LR, where are you?
If you have a decent eighth attacker, stay in because the fixtures are there, right? After Liverpool, you've got two good fixtures, Southampton and Brighton at home, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
You play him for those fixtures because the game before this, we were decent and Bruno had 7 shots, 5 of them were outside the box, but he was at the end of a lot of good things. I do think if you have a decent eighth attacker, you don't sell. Unless Arsenal are purring tonight. Like, I think that's a fair enough caveat. And by purring, I mean looking really good.
Cool. Move on to Forest Spurs.
Yeah.
Very little to take from this game apart from the fact that Forest are legit. And now they're spreading their goals around a little bit. I don't think Chris Wood had a single shot, Pras. I remember checking the stats later. XG was very low or 0 shots.
He was basically getting one shot, one goal in the previous games. Now it's not happening. And this is why a lot of people didn't go there. And it's a bit like, there will come a point when Cunha will get banned, or before he gets banned, he stops scoring. And nobody's surprised. This is why XG catches up with everyone.
But Cunha is not banned and Dragusin's out and he's playing Spurs next. Oh, the pain.
By the way, the working day is not finished in London. You never know.
All right, man. But like, you'd be happy about the prospects of placing Spurs with Cunha, right? Like,
yeah. If he's
more than
not
happy.
banned, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I will say that Spurs had a lot of chances against Forest though. Like, it was a lot of good goalkeeping and last-ditch blocks from Forest, because of which they kept the clean. So Spurs were decent in attack. But you guys discussed that the goals are spread out, which is why you all didn't consider Maddo as a pick. And minutes are spread as well. So, well done on that.
Forest also, I want to mention the whole cat dog centre back thing that Baker did on his pod. They did a segment on Match of the Day where they outlined it perfectly with Milenkovic and Murillo. That partnership is just working beautifully right now in defense.
Pras, does it remind you of Rio and Vidic? Like, so much, right? In terms of personality type, like so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, the football hasn't changed too much in terms of how they play. There was always the ball playing centre back. We just perceived him differently.
Yeah, man. I remember in the summer there were links of Murillo once they didn't get Euro with Madrid also. It wasn't just Forest. So he's coming highly regarded. A lot of clubs are paying close attention to him.
Spurs, anything to add?
No.
I don't know, man. Like, is Solanke an option? It feels like, no one else, or maybe Solanke, but otherwise, is he an option?
I think they're better picks.
Like who?
Jackson, even Mateta, I would take a punt now at this stage, I think, just purely because of fixtures. Have a look at Spurs fixtures, I think, just to be.
Nice, huh? Pras, good spot. Wolves home, Newcastle home, Arsenal away.
Everton away.
Maybe
Leicester.
you see out Newcastle, Arsenal, Everton and then decide. Because it looks nice, but Newcastle, Arsenal, Everton just isn't the best. They're all decent defenses in decent form at the moment.
And he's one of those picks where if you don't fixate on him, right? Like earlier in the season, I feel everybody was fixated on him. We want Solanke. And you have, if your expectation is not like he's Richarlison or, like he's not the number 9 of Spurs. He's a guy who plays for Spurs, who gets minutes, who starts every game, who gets 2 blanks, 1 return, another blank. It's not too bad. I think his FPL points are more than Jackson.
I'm not sure. They're thereabouts.
I think so.
I'm just on the page. Hold on.
Actually, it's less than Jackson. Jackson is 93. Oh, he's like 21 points less. Oh, he was injured as well. But yeah, he's not. Jackson is better. But then he's better than anyone else in that category. Havertz, Mateta, Gakpo. Not too bad. Like, I was thinking of him, but it feels very boring.
It does. And generally, Spurs just very Jekyll and Hyde. They do look a bit tired, etc., etc.
Yeah, something's not right with Spurs.
Southampton, West Ham. I think we've already covered it. Southampton are a much better side.
Another bow in the armor for the Salah captaincy. Southampton created so much against West Ham.
Good shout. And again, the Kilman thing, I completely forgot that he got subbed off early, and Fabianski out is a big difference as well. Move on to
Wolves United. We've discussed
Liverpool, Leicester.
Just a question to you guys. Is there a preference between Ahmad and Enzo for you guys?
I would still say Ahmad, I think marginally, because again, I like the role in the front three. But again, we go back to the point about Chelsea being a more functional team. I'm not really
Pras, do you
sure.
have a preference?
Enzo has set pieces, but his position is less certain. Like Ahmad is getting, like we're in the market for a left wing back, right? Which would suggest that Dalot would and Mazraoui or mainly Dalot would play right wing back, which means Ahmad would mainly play the 10, right 10. I would marginally favor him, but I like Enzo as well.
I'll just do a little bit of what's happening with United and just some guessing with United, right? What's happening is I feel like Bruno's best position is the position Ahmad's playing in, which is the right-sided 10 at the moment, because he's got a great right foot on him and he's got creative ability from that side. And I feel like the moment which is going to happen next game, Garnacho plays as the left-sided 10. There's a good chance he makes that position his own because Bruno has not been good in that position, which leaves two options. Either Bruno becomes CM and Ahmad plays right wing 10, or somebody else plays CM, like Ugarte and Menu play there, and Ahmad plays the wing back position on the right hand side, and Bruno plays right wing 10, which is probably his best position in my opinion. So I'm a little wary about the shifting and shuffling that might happen because I still don't feel that left wing 10 is Bruno's best position. So in fact, even in the game previously, when Bruno was playing the deeper 10, it's not exactly 10. If you saw the Menu's position in the first half last game, he was given the license because Ugarte holds. So because Ugarte holds and there's three centre backs behind him, he's got quite a license to roam forward. So even that might suit Bruno. Don't get mistaken into think that Bruno playing CM is bad for him. They have quite a license to roam ahead. So I'm just a little worried there about Ahmad and his minutes and whether he moves to wing back or whether he gets subbed off. So a little wavery there.
You're thinking of selling one, right?
If I have to get Martinelli, I might have to sell one.
I guess that's probably why you asked the question.
Yeah.
A lot of people might.
And I also think, do you guys think that Sarr is objectively just better than both these picks?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. For the fixtures, yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Much more of a focal point than the other two guys. Just look at the golden odds. I think City are top 2.65, Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, they're thereabouts. Palace, one of the highest we've seen all season, 1.95. In terms of clean sheet odds, they're way out on top. Like a lot of us have Robinson. We're looking at bringing Munoz in there as a fourth or fifth defender. There is a visible upgrade in terms of the odds. 23% for Fulham, 38% for Palace. That might be something we need to look at. Otherwise, Arsenal odds, again, we don't know how well they're going to do without Saka. I think that Brentford game might be a bit more difficult than we think because there's history in this fixture, right from that Tony tweet, right? There's always some bit of rivalry over there. So I don't necessarily think it is the best entry point for Arsenal. I think
was it Brentford's first fixture in the league also, if I'm not mistaken?
It was. It wasn't that was the point. Arsenal had a lot of illnesses. I think they had a virus in the camp or something. They lost that game.
It was the Friday FPL kicked off 3 seasons ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was the Jesus season.
It was. No. It wasn't the Jesus season because I remember the Arsenal lost their first 3 games without scoring a goal. Jesus, what you're talking about is the year after that.
After that,
yeah.
So the captaincy here completely supports what we said about Salah. 2.55 is right up there. When you have the similar odds between Chelsea and Liverpool, you just go with Liverpool. Much more trusted attack. But again, the Jackson entry point looks good this week. I'd be very, very surprised if he's benched. What do you guys think?
Difficult to call.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I think it's likelier he starts than not.
Yep. I'll show you guys my bus team, but I mean in terms of my
Shall I ask you a question, Zoph? I have one about Jackson. So if you look at Chelsea's schedule, right? In the early parts, you guys had... if you have the Lego Mane one, yeah.
This one.
So in the earlier parts, you had easier Conference League games. So you were able to easily play the B team. What is your guess when the Conference League games start to get tougher? Do you think it becomes a mix? So I'm trying to basically understand long term. Can I be sure that in Gameweek 28 it will be Jackson starting up top?
I think so because there aren't really very difficult games in the Conference League. You look at that
even later in knockouts.
I mean, later in the knockouts, do clubs drop out from the Europa League into that? Like, I remember in the Champions League, that was the
Not
system
anymore.
earlier. Not anymore,
anymore.
right? I don't think so.
Also,
Because
to, with regards to your doubt also, right? One thing I have in my head process, like Jackson's the pacey guy and Palmer's like the creative sort of guy. When you play Nkuku and Felix is the pacey guy, and Nkuku is sort of like Palmerish in the way he plays. So just as a duo, I feel like Palmer works a lot better with somebody like Jackson, who stretches oppositions, is pacey, runs through channels, which is good for not just Palmer, even Enzo, just as a duo. So in terms of team balance also, like I see them as a pair more so than not.
Yeah, Maresca was in fact asked yesterday that why he didn't bring Felix on, and he said that Felix occupies the same position as Palmer. That's why he didn't want to bring him on.
Yep.
But I think, yeah, Jackson is, after you get past this stage, is pretty much fine. And even the later spacing, we look at it, after the FA Cup break also, there are a couple of matches, a lot of teams for them is pretty close. For Chelsea, not so. It's Ipswich, they have a decent break now till Palace. Then you think you have the FA Cup game over here. Then the Bournemouth game. Then Wolves. See, the spacing between 21 and 22 for Chelsea is really good. For a lot of other clubs, it isn't. You look at Arsenal, for example, Tottenham and Villa are really close. Right, and look at Fulham also. I remember seeing Fulham's also not that great in terms of rotation. So Chelsea again don't have to rotate there, 21 and 22 either. It's a big gap in there. So I think Jackson's fine.
Fair enough.
How many games does he have to survive now?
Just one. If he gets a yellow this one, he misses game week 20. But if he survives this, then he's done. Then the threshold is 10.
Exactly. It's going to be him or Jackson, him or this one, Jesus for me, I think, for the Strand Larsen spot.
Not interested in Mateta. But because you have Sarr.
I have Sarr already and probably will be getting Munoz as well. Triple feels like a lot.
It's a bit like the Wolves one, right? Everybody went game week 10 with 8 Nouri and Cunha or Strand Larsen. So, yeah, after a while it gets too much.
Honestly, if I had conviction on Mateta, I would. But I think the system, his role has changed a little bit. Again, it might change in the easier games, but what I'm seeing is now he's not primarily their goal outlet.
And what about Watkins?
Too short term. I'm worried now after these two games again what happens.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. And again, Jackson has your Ipswich and Palace. Good match, will come close.
If Jesus scores tonight, I think everyone is going Jesus.
Yeah.
But tell me again, now we're doing it before the Arsenal discussion. Isn't everything very performance dependent, Pras, with Arsenal with those 4 spots?
It is, but they have been struggling for goals. And so without Saka, they'll struggle for goals even more. So I've spoken to a lot of Arsenal fans, and basically people think that Jesus should continue to start, but they also think that because he's so versatile, he could play one game off the left, one game on the right, one game in the middle. But frankly, I don't care. Like, if he gets enough minutes in that Arsenal attack for under 7 million, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like it, and more importantly, I think he's a different level kind of presser in that Arsenal setup. He genuinely causes chaos in opposition defense. He's like Jota and Kai, Zoph, in terms of when you're hot, very streaky players that we've had previously. When Jesus goes on song, goes on song for 5-6 weeks. So if he's, I like that. Plus.
This is why I don't mind Jesus, also because Mateta price point is similar. Solanke price point is similar. If you commit to a Jackson price point, you have made other sacrifices elsewhere. Depends on who else you have, right? Team dependent. Then it feels like it boxes me to a second cheap midfielder, which I don't. Without a third premium, I want to spend in midfield. There are other good midfielders out there. Like Bowen did well, Gordon is doing well, Odegaard could become an option, Bruno later could become an option. People don't see it now. So I don't want to commit too much up top with Isak, Jackson and, whoever else people may have.
My concern with Arsenal is I think they have to play Rice and Partey in all of these games that are coming. Brentford, Brighton, Tottenham, Villa. These are not games where you're necessarily going to see Kai playing that left-sided 8. Which essentially means that Jesus has to be playing up top. I don't see Kai as being somebody who can be used on the left or right. That doesn't really suit his style. So essentially,
they could play Kai up top, Jesus on the left.
Either side. So effectively keep Martinelli or Trossard out. So essentially, it's going to be 3 from 4 every game.
Correct. And that's what we want to see. That basically he doesn't trust Martinelli or Trossard for 90 minutes. That's what we've seen for the last 3 years. So does that continue? In which case, that's great for Jesus' minutes. But if it is actually today, let's say Martinelli starts, and I expect Martinelli to start, and Jesus starts, but it's Jesus who comes off for Trossard, that's not a good thing. That I want to see. That would be a yellow flag. So we'll
Speaking
see.
of the
We'll find
yellow
out.
things, Pras, sorry to interrupt you. He is on 4 yellows. We forgot to mention that last time. We should mention it
Also,
today.
his last game in 4 yellows. Yes.
That's two games from the point of today. He's got to get through Ipswich and the next game.
Correct. If he gets no yellow card, then he's not an option anyway for next game. If he gets a yellow tonight.
Pretty much. I think we've covered all the games. Let's do our sleeper plug and our bus teams.
So actually, I'm going to combine the sleeper plug with also a plug for our Patreon because I see 1,200 people joining. So guys, thank you for the support. And if you want to support us even more, then just liking the stream and subscribing would be, you can become a member on YouTube, or you can join our Patreon on patreon.com/the FPL Wire. And so one of the benefits you get as a member, I mean, there's tons of things. And by the way, we're running a lot of competition starting January, is basically this Pick'em League, in which basically we have the ability to pick the results of every game week. And at the end of the month, 3 people from our Discord win a Premier League jersey each. And all you have to do is basically for free, just pick who you think will win or draw in every single game week every single game in the game week. And so the new one will start in January. So get involved. If you want to download the app, it's the top right. That's the QR code for the app itself. It's called Sleeper. And then at the bottom right, it's the league that you can join. There's a public game as well as a Discord game. The public game also has a lot of prizes. But today I wanted to focus a little bit on, if you wanted to support us, join the Discord one.
Fantastic plug, Pras. Cool. Let's do our bus teams. This is the Cunha team, Pras. Obviously yours. Ironically,
Cunha
the only
team.
person with no glasses.
Exactly. So Raya and Gabriel in goal. Trent. We didn't talk about Trent, man, but Trent looked okay. But
Trent looked good, man. He was unlucky not
he
to
looked
get
good,
any
but
points.
I don't want to big him up, man. I don't want to big him up because you get comments. People don't have the same team value, right? Not everybody can get on every player. Like my thing is like, man, he's the best defender. If you think he's not worth 7 million, okay, is he worth 6? He's still, then he should be in your team because he's still good.
Agree.
But fair enough, if people want to go against that, he could have had a couple of assists yesterday again. They conceded, but it's fine. Liverpool are a good defense, so happy to have Trent. Rico Lewis is here, but
Can
Rico
I
Lewis is
pause
going to
you?
become Munoz.
For a
Yeah,
second
go
here,
for it.
Pras. Let's say people are selling an Arsenal defender or selling a defender this time. Like when I was looking at getting Trent in because he has a double, I need to make a plan for him. I saw it as an entry point against Leicester at home, or I saw it as an entry point in Gameweek 23 because the next 4 are West Ham away, United home, Forest away, Brentford away. Do you think you can wait till 23? So if you're buying a defender this week, do you get like a Munoz or do you get a Trent? Like what's the thinking there?
I think
Trent
Munoz's
still?
entry point is better, but look, I think in those 4 games, it could be anything. Slot can keep a clean sheet in tougher games as well. It's a bit like getting an Arsenal defender. So I don't want to say it's easy to delay him, but I also don't want to say he's essential, right? I mean, it's one of those where if your team structure allows, get on him. This week, particularly like that upside against Southampton. Southampton, as we have said, are less gung-ho, so they're sitting back a lot more. It just smells like a good Munoz game, man. He's going to be hanging around that right wing. He has the highest XG of all defenders, even more than Trent. So that would itself say that he has the better fixture. So prioritize Munoz this week. If you have the ability to make 2 free transfers, use up 2 transfers in defense.
Cool.
So I will be doing most likely Rico Lewis to Munoz. Now Munoz, an important point is he's price locked. Because his red flag, he had that suspension, right, for his 5th yellow. His red card was removed last weekend. And so he's price locked after the red card is removed for 1 week. So you can actually happily, if anybody is in this position, you can wait till Sunday morning for Rico or any news and then make the decision. Frankly, even if Rico starts, I might just do it because I just think it's a transfer I definitely want to make. So why just hold off for 1 game?
Are you sure
So
about the
then
price lock thing? As Ragaboli mentioned that?
I mean, you go on FPL stats or anything, it shows 0.
I won't
because
trust
he's
it to
price
anybody except Ragaboli's price changes now.
locked. Yeah, even on his thing, it's 0.
Then it's fine. Yes, then I'd take it as gospel.
So then at the moment, Salah, captain, Palmer, Rogers, who I'm happy to play this week. Enzo away to Ipswich. I'm also happy to play him. But if I was to make a move for Gordon this week, I would probably lose Enzo over Rogers. Just because I think Rogers is fine. He's getting all the minutes and I think he's more robust as a pick. Then up front, João Pedro is not going anywhere. Isak's not going anywhere. Cunha, let's see. Depends on the ban. So, long story short, I have 2 free transfers. I will use one for my defender to get Munoz, and the second one is used depending on Cunha's ban situation tonight and how Arsenal do tonight. I could go for a striker. If Cunha is fine, then I will not use that transfer on Cunha. And in that case, I may do like Enzo to Gordon or Enzo to Sarr.
Tell me, talking about João Pedro, he has some difficult fixtures coming up. I just wanted to touch upon that also. Villa away, Arsenal at home. Do you think now he's not benchable now in any of these
I'll
fixtures?
probably bench him. Arsenal at home, I'll bench him because I have Rodgers playing home to Leicester. So
Okay, so you'll play Bruno away to Liverpool over Pedro home to Arsenal.
Definitely.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Dude, it's okay. You'll come back on Bruno. Don't worry. This is what people were saying when Isak blanked against West Ham and then he got injured against Crystal Palace. People will come
Bruno's
back
a fine
Bruno.
pick.
No, I'm saying, but I would say at home, Brighton, because I don't know, Brighton against the bigger teams, I feel it suits them a little bit more. Arsenal
does.
over that game. So
And their record this season, right? They've done poorly against the poor opposition and well against the tougher opposition.
Yeah, and Anfield is just such a difficult game for any team.
We'll see. It's not a no-brainer. But what I mean is that I don't have to play João Pedro that way.
Fair enough. I think you're in good shape. I think, yeah, we could definitely do the Lewis to Munoz one. The second one is TBD.
I think I'll definitely do a second one as well.
It makes sense.
I will do Enzo to someone, either Sarr or Gordon.
Yeah, because I don't think Cunha's ban is happening this weekend. Probably
It could.
after
It
this.
could. Let's say. Let's not say until it's 5 p.m. in the UK.
No, let's say it. Let's say it. Let's shout it from the rooftops. It's not happening. Let's
I know
do
what
it.
you. Okay, I get it. I get it.
Of course. This is my team. Flecken in goal. Trent, Gabriel, and Robinson. Bumo, Salah Cap, Palmer, Sarr, Semenyo, Isak, and João Pedro. 2 free transfers. Loads of money in the bank. Something like 4.5 or something. So what I'm thinking, I'll at least do Greaves to Munoz. And the second transfer would probably be Strand Larsen to someone or Semenyo to someone. I haven't decided whether it will be Jackson, Jesus, Martinelli, etc.
Zoph, Flecken's got Arsenal, City, and Liverpool in the next 4.
But who do I buy?
We just discussed it. Like Hendo's sitting right there for cheap keeper if you're in the market.
I don't know, man. I don't like. If I would only buy a keeper, I don't think again. I don't want to triple up on the Palace thing. Like I don't think the fixtures are that good in terms of clean sheets.
But at some point you need to at some point you need to address the Flecken thing because I think it's a good entry point with Arsenal, Liverpool, and City in the next 4, man.
Yeah, but the entire centre back thing is also a problem now. They only have 2 fit centre backs. They're not even going to be playing that back 3. But I can't really put my finger on somebody I want to buy.
I think you have bias, but I think Sanchez is completely fine given long-term fixtures and
completely fine. And I'll never.
He's fine, man. Pras, what do you think? Is Sanchez a bad? I don't think Sanchez is a bad.
It's fan bias. Yeah, Sanchez.
Chelsea's defense are not good.
No, man, it's completely fine.
They kept a clean sheet against Everton, which everybody does except Man City. And then last week also, 70th till 70th minute, they were on a clean sheet. Like there's nothing wrong with their team.
But we gave up
and
chances.
He's making saves.
He is making saves, but he also gives up the chances. But let's say Ipswich, okay, clean sheet. Palace, I don't think there's a clean sheet. Bournemouth, no. City away, no. Wolves, West Ham is again TBD, depends on Cunha, etc., etc. I'm seeing maximum 2 clean sheets in the next 6, which is obviously more than I see for Flecken. So I get the.
Or buy the extra game with Pickford.
Pickford is the only one who would tempt me because I don't think the entry point against NFO is that bad.
Yeah.
That's something I have to look at. But I just feel
now. I would get Alisson off. I know you don't like premium keepers. It's the time. Nobody has double Liverpool defense. Everybody thinks they're rubbish. It's the time to buy.
But do I want to lock myself out of let's say, the third attacker that does emerge?
And Zoph loves Jota.
I love Jota. I'm not right now, but a fully fit Jota around that time.
Like you guys don't even have the problem of the assistant manager chip because you'll probably use your triple captain in that double game week.
Yeah.
So like I would like somebody who's used it. I am worried about my third Liverpool because I'm likely to go a slot, but you have an edge. Like he's the best keeper for me if you can make it work funds wise.
This is like philosophically been different with you and both of us in terms of like I done Raya and I've not enjoyed owning him. Like I need more money for attack. I keep constantly like give me money for attack. So yeah.
I just
so
feel
peaceful,
Forest.
man. You pick a nailed player, a good player for a long time. Don't waste transfers on them. So peaceful. Life is good.
I'm come around to either pick Pickford, or because there's not much difference between the keepers in terms of points, just get a 4.51 and
What about
deal with it.
Cells?
Like a fine, good keeper, a good pick, completely fine long
What is the
term.
third? I mean, you just can't deny that it's not a fluke.
It's not a fluke.
But they will not be third.
Probably not, but they
Yeah,
do
yeah.
look like there's always
They're a
this
good
one
team.
4.7.
They're a good team. To be clear, he's
Yeah.
a good. But when it's only 0.7 difference between Cells and Allison, I don't know why we won't go Allison.
Actually, fixtures are also decent, huh? To 25 at least for Cells. I'm just looking at that also.
Yeah, if I would
But
go there,
after
I
that,
think
they're terrible.
Yeah. I'm telling you why, Pras. Zoph, if Jota is like looking like, oh, he's become starting striker. I know how much Zoph loves Jota, and he's
Fine,
been his
fair
boy.
enough, fair enough.
That's what it
I
is.
wanted to just give my
Yeah.
recommendation, obviously,
Yeah.
to also premium keepers stifles funds a lot. That I completely
Yeah.
agree.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
And again, so I think the opportunity is there for the Jackson move. I don't think I'll be going for Mateta. So the only confirmed move that I think as of now is Greaves to Munoz. I could even potentially roll the second Semenyo away to Fulham is not that bad. Strand Larsen, I guess I won't play Strand Larsen even though he's against Spurs, but I think I will make a second move over there as well.
You've had a fair share of bad luck with Strand Larsen also. Like I'll tell you that. Like he could have had a goal or two against us. Like he posted some decent numbers, had some good chances.
Cunha has been suspended for 5 games.
What?
Oh,
Can you Can you
wow.
open your champagne?
Finally.
Don't
It's
tell
not
me these
confirmed.
things.
It's not confirmed, but Villain has tweeted, so it's going to be announced soon.
See, that I
Freedom.
told you the shout would work. It worked.
Freedom. It's insane. Huh,
Check.
bro?
I messaged you guys 30 minutes ago. You didn't check your WhatsApp.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
That's why I've been dropping hints.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
wow.
Nobody in the chat said it as well.
It's not.
Ah.
I mean,
So let's quickly do a Cunha best. We actually spoken about strikers.
we have spoken about strikers a lot. It's going to be if Jesus scores, otherwise Mateta, otherwise Solanke, otherwise Jackson, otherwise who else? Nowhere
You're
else.
not kidding us, are you, Pras?
No, he's not kidding. He won't.
Oh, he's deleted
That's-
it. It'll come.
Okay.
Let's see. I think it should happen.
Okay,
I
top
think,
3 replacements. Just let's do a
yeah, let's just
quick
do that
poll.
anyway.
Yeah.
Let's just go back to. I'm going to pull up the top T numbers.
I'll
Again.
tell you what, Jesus Jackson. But if Duran's red card stays, live a little.
Watkins.
Get the big top.
Plus,
Like
your
squad
top three?
dependent. But my first choice, I think Pras talked me into it, is Gabby J.
Cabbage again, performance dependent today.
Yeah. Like Gabby J, what do you call, Jackson or Watkins? I like these 3 picks.
Yep, I think I'll be thereabouts as well.
Yeah.
I'll be. I
With
think
Mateta,
Jesus or Mateta.
right? Like, you know what my thing with Mateta is? Plus, you're getting like a similar caliber
Apparently, it was
attacker.
Bhuna Pras with that tweet.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh no! I've been Bhunad live on this thing. Oh man.
It might have
Anyway.
been.
All right, it's okay. We've done the replacements just in case. That's the
Yeah,
content we need to
just
do.
in
And I think
case.
this was great content anyway.
I have heard from several sources that it's coming today, so I can now that the cat is out of the bag, that it's guys. If you have Cunha, don't make your transfers yet.
Fair enough. But yeah, let's
Cool.
move on from my team. LR, your team?
I've got the triple Arsenal defense. Robinson won't be triple Arsenal defense after this week. Robinson, Salah, Palmer, Enzo, Ahmad, Pedro, Haaland, Isak, and a terrible bench. So I'm looking at. I've got 2 free transfers. So I'm looking at money moving out of my defense. So Timber to Munoz is one move I'm looking at, which will either fund either Enzo or Ahmad. I'm currently leaning towards selling Ahmad to Sar. That's one potential move. Or I do Raya, Timber, and Ahmad to whoever, keeper, Munoz and Martinelli if he shows up as a pick. Or I can actually make my squad a little more robust now, which is something which Pras likes. So I can do Raya down to a keeper, Timber down to Munoz, and then I can do Dibbling to Sar, which gives me decent 8 attackers. Because Dibbling is a dead spot. He doesn't even start now for Southampton.
Tell me again. Tell me your 3 moves.
So the potential moves that I have in place are just Timber down to Munoz and Ahmad to Sar, or Timber down to Munoz, Raya down to Henderson, for example, or Sanchez, for example, and then Dibbling up to Sar, or Raya and Timber down, and then Ahmad up to Martinelli if he looks like the pick that I want, if he bursts tonight. So these are the sort of moves that I'm looking at as of now. But I'm looking to get money out.
These are all free transfers.
And I'm not worried about Trent money in the future because Trent will come in Gameweek 23. That's when I sell Haaland. So I'll have a lot of money to play with at that point.
What are Arsenal's fixtures like? I think in terms of, you definitely need to get off one Arsenal defender. I think you can potentially look to keep Raya still.
It's to fund an attacker. That's all. I want to make my attack slightly better. Playing Enzo and Ahmad every week feels a little patchy. So I do want to make my attack better. And I do think that Sarr is better than these two. That's why that question came in.
But the only thing is, I would just say that you're going to in 3-4 weeks, I think, for your sanity, you are going to spread funds from Haaland soon. So your squad will become robust. Like you don't need to deal with the dribbling spot by taking a hit, because you might need that extra transfer to spread the Haaland. Like I can tell you from experience, having done it in Game Week 10, only by Game Week 15 or 16, I felt that I have spread the Haaland funds in an efficient way. Until then, Saka got injured, and then now we're spreading again. So we are still in process of spreading the funds. So it takes a lot of time.
You guys it's been such a different experience because you guys have like 2-3 million in the bank. It's been now 5 or 6 weeks in a row where I have not had more than 0.1 million in the bank post any of my transfers. It's either been 0.0 or 0.1 million in the bank.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Which is quite funny given our contrasting styles, right? You always want to make more of the transfers every week. So.
It's Haaland, man. He
even
got
the best
penalty.
team. Your best team is the best this week.
What do I say?
Yeah.
I don't even have. He missed a penalty. What do I do?
It's ridiculous. I mean, just if we do it over, then I found it quite funny because it was your boy Mikalenko who won the penalty as well.
Yeah, man. I just want to because every time I post a team with Twitter, like on Haaland, like Zoph, I don't want to use you as a thing, but like Zoph and me diverge into Haaland and non-Haaland teams exactly the same time, and we've been pretty much neck and neck for points throughout. It's just seemingly the more painful experience on this side, but in terms of points, we both are on a decent streak of greens for the last 5 weeks.
Because your Arsenal triple defense, that has really helped your trajectory. And
Isak was the game-changing move.
Yeah,
Isak was the game-changing move.
You would have been a lot more behind without Isak.
That was the game-changing move.
Correct. I mean, yours is the best Haaland team on the internet or in the game. Like so,
because it's the only one.
No. There are lots. In fact, more people ended up keeping him because Saka got injured. So they got Salah through. So they have had Haaland instead of Salah. Like there's so many teams like FPL Tony, Schadenfreude, who came on our podcast, Andy Martin. There are lots of people who either don't have Haaland or don't have Salah. And so in those cases, they have absolutely gotten smashed. And those they don't have Isak. So you have actually, like Neo, you've basically dodged a lot of bullets. And I think this is now next 2 weeks is your upside, man. So wish you all the best. Like we are all rooting for Haaland.
Let's hope so. I was actually talking to Pulkit from the Discord because he's the only Haaland owner that I know. And you needed to seek comfort. And, every other group chat, it's a bunch of non-Haaland owners. Only Haaland owners will understand Haaland owners in this situation. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, he'll score it when we captain him next week. And I was like, let's hope so.
Perfect, man. For you and Pulkit's sake, two of my favorite people, I hope he does. Cool. Let's wrap up.
Villain has just DM'd me that he's confirmed he was Bhunad. So congrats, Bhunad. This has gone big.
Bhunad's in the chat as well.
So Villain has now DM'd me that his tweet has now been deleted because he got Bhunad. So I got secondary Bhunad.
and we got
because I have blocked him. I was like, how did I see it if I blocked him? But anyway, you can never escape.
Good thing we clarified that. Imagine somebody makes
like and subscribe. Guys, we need a new target, man.
40K?
40K.
When do we want?
End of the
season? When is Easter?
When is
Easter? That's stretch target. Our boss is here. I still remember that corporate video you did, LR. That hilarious Starboy Saka one.
Yeah, it's still there on my Instagram page.
And you still haven't bought Saka.
Yeah. I mean, that also worked out in my favor, by the way. Just in terms of X luck that I've had, Saka blanking 3 weeks was luck also. So, yeah.
Yeah, you look at Walsh, who ripped up his entire team to get the 4 big dogs, and then Saka gets injured right after.
Yeah, man. Yeah. All right, man. Guys. It's been fun. Good chat. I'm so glad we did the part. Pras, thanks for pushing us.
We thought we'd do a short one. It's gone 90 minutes again.
People are on holidays, man. Enjoy. Look, 1 people watching. So thank you for joining.
There was one super chat, guys. Sorry, let's
Oh, yeah,
scroll
of course,
up really
sorry.
quick. To go back, yes. Who to? I don't know who would love Munoz. I guess who to sell for Munoz? Sell Colwell or
Lewis. Don't even read the question.
Yes.
Lewis.
Sell
Actually, I'm
Lewis.
kidding. If you the more proper answer is if you have to play Colwell or Lewis this week, then Lewis is playing Leicester and he has better clean sheet odds. Although Colwell is playing away to Ipswich.
Colwell is good long-term hold price.
Yeah, fine. Sell Lewis.
That's it. That was just one.
Shout out to Jazzy. We were talking about this. His friend from the pod. He's actually just like in terms of people who are playing their own game. This guy is what's his rank right now? Let me just open it up right now.
He was close between him and me on our cons league.
Constantly. So you should know that he's looking to sell Salah this week to fund Haaland.
This is how I catch him.
It's Haaland at the end of the day. It's not like he's getting like a random.
It's not Haaland. It is him using 4 transfers to get Haaland and Haaland out.
2 transfers. He's using 2.
You have to do it again.
Yeah. And his what is his rank at the moment, so that people know that this guy's like he's sitting at 12k just with Pras, around and around Pras at the moment. So, like, good luck to you, Jazzy. I'm hoping that he brings the good juju to this side of the robot land, and hopefully it works out.
Then I should definitely captain Salah to catch him.
You should definitely captain Salah.
Yep.
Zoph, there's a couple more actually. There is one on have Salah, Palmer, Martinelli, keep Bruno and play Enzo. Well, that's what I'm doing. So up to you. If you need the funds, I think we talked about Bruno. Go back to the Bruno section. So this is from Chris Asso.
I can't see it on mine.
Go to fan funding. So my preference is to keep Bruno and play Enzo. But if you can sell Bruno and get the funds and do another move, then do that. So I don't think there's a right answer. And there's another one: play Mikolenko or do Dibbling to Sar with a free transfer. I would do Dibbling to Sar, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That was from Nilesh Kapoor.
Cool. Great. Glad we covered that. So next pod, guys, I think the next game week is on January 4th. So I think we can get to a more normal schedule. I think we have a bit of a break after this.
I'm traveling Tuesday, so Monday or you both will need to go on.
We'll find it. I mean, there's a Wednesday game as well. So we'll find out.
Yeah, so I think we could probably go something like Wednesday or Thursday for next week. Either way. If you're subscribed, another reason to subscribe, you'll know then.
Right.
Cheers. We'll have our team selection videos. So
team selection
thank you,
videos
everyone.
That'll have the data from tonight's games, right? So you guys can tune into that tomorrow, day after. And go ahead. I want to wish everyone Happy New Year because you won't see everyone before the years change. What are you guys planning to do?
Heading out of town just for New Year's Eve for a couple of days.
Quite cool. What about you, Pras?
Dude, when you have children, New Year's Eve is like the worst night of the year. You never go out. Babysitters are the most expensive, and you're like chill.
But also, I think it's the worst time to go out. Like, I don't like going out on New Year's Eve because everything's like packed and overcrowded.
No one's had a good New Year's Eve experience, especially going out.
Yeah. Like, I think the right things to do is either have friends over or go to a friend's place or like go out of town, like, or stay in. Like last New Year's, I stayed in. It was my brother's wedding, so I stayed in with the wife, saw a movie, ordered in from our favorite pizza joint. Beautiful New Year's. Yeah. Like, just perfect.
Probably do some. One last super chat, guys. Nehal sent it quite late. I'm gonna free for anything would change with this team. Send the Taiwan, Rhea, Gabriel, VVD, Mazraoui, Greaves, Salah, Palmer, Diaz, Mitoma, Rogers, Isak, Jackson, Joao. I think this team is fine. Just your short-term pain you have taken, the team looks fine perfectly going forward.
Mitoma out after this week maybe? And maybe Mazraoui. Like those are 2 weak spots.
Yeah, I think you could get Sard in for Mitoma.
Yeah, and Maz to Munoz.
Pretty much.
If you have 2 free transfers.
Yeah.
But hope Mitoma banks for you, man. He assists a couple of Joao Pedro goals.
He's actually been pretty close. Just a lot of
Mitoma's had 7 big chances and scored, I think, 1 of them.
Yeah. And a lot of them were assisted by Pedro.
It's always the case, man. That's been a theme of the season. Everything's just been so near, yet so far. On that note, Happy New Year again, everyone. We'll see you.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Take care.
Thanks for joining us.
Take care, bye.